Hello, it is Wednesday, July 8th, 2020, and the light is winning. I'm Holly, founder of What the Stars Say, and I wanted to share just a bit of the weekly STARCAST and talk about some different energies we're dealing with and the cosmic influence on our lives. As I am recording this, we're in the middle of a Mercury square Mars transit that we're all collectively experiencing, and I have been blessed with a very intelligent and curious audience who wants to know more about astrology. And I really see this transit as a way to have a quick teaching lesson and not just to say, oh, Mercury squares Mars, it's like this, but to explain why this matters and how it matters to us. So we have Mercury right now in Cancer, and this is currently in a retrograde cycle. Mercury is in retrograde until July 12th when our neighbor goes direct station. So in the retrograde cycle, it's not just this time to this time, which is where we're all told, look out, do this and that and whatever. It has a whole cycle that it goes through. So on July 12th, Mercury will go direct station, as they call it, in the Cancer constellation, but it doesn't end its post-shadow phase. You're not really in the clear until July 26th, okay? So the retrograde is going to end up this week. We will feel a sense of relief. It will lessen up its energy on us, but we're not totally in the clear until July 26th. And that is good news for the people that are using this retrograde cycle to go back and review or rearrange something and reconsider something. You have a little bit more time. So look at it as the retrograde ends this weekend, but we still have another phase, a shadow phase as they call it, where I believe that the same energy is also with us at that time. It might be less, but it's still there. So look at July 26th as when Mercury really clears up and it's in a forward direct motion at that time. It'll help alleviate any of the miscommunications we might be experiencing at this time and delays, tech glitches, and normal sorts. So right now, when we have Mercury in its retrograde, it's still in its retrograde cycle in Cancer, and it's squaring Mars. What does this mean? So Mercury represents not just how we communicate with each other, but our own internal dialogue. What's on our mind? That dialogue that's going through our head. With Mercury in Cancer, what's on our mind is related a lot more to self-love, nurturing, family, home situations. And that could even extend to the patriotism we feel in our home country and so forth. So this is where we've been with Mercury. Well, then we say square. What is a square? A square is a degree that Mercury is hitting at with Mars that's causing tension. So we have tension there. What does Mars represent? Mars represents action, aggression, war, pioneer. Mars is now home in Aries. So these same adjectives I'm using here, action, I put brave baby here, because Aries is the baby of the zodiac, but there's a bravery and a pioneer spirit to it. And what's lovely about this square is this tension. Sometimes we have to have tension to fully confront a situation and to deal with it. It's bringing that there. And we have this brave baby energy so we can, confront these issues, especially if issues related to your home and your roots and so forth. You need brave baby energy sometimes to go back and deal with those wounds and how they're still, coming out in your own life. So when we have Mercury square Mars, there's a tension, there's a nervous tension that results. So this is a really hard, and this is why I have my notes here, but I hadn't got this in a blog form, but I wanted to get this message out. So I'm taking my lunch break here to break this down because I want to share this with people who are struggling with their mental health, which is many people right now, and let them know that this transit that we're experiencing collectively this week is very difficult. It causes nervousness, anxiety, migraines, okay? It's hard on mental health. Mercury's our mental. It's our thought processes, our communication. It's our transportation, everything on two wheels. It's technology. It's social media. It's all of that. It's traditional media. It's all the ways that thought is communicated through and how it comes out. So we're putting thought into action, right? Mars is our action planet. We're putting thought into action. This can result in very assertive communications. Now, if you're a wallflower or you have problems expressing yourself or you're stuck people pleasing, this is a really good time and energy to start practicing setting healthy boundaries. However, if you're more fiery spirit, say what you think kind of person anyway, watch it, because you could be creating blocks between yourself and other people without realizing how assertive you're being and how aggressive you're coming across in your communication. So it can work for you or against you. And that's why it's important to realize the influences, that these celestials are having on our lives. So we represent ourselves in the best way possible. Now, not only I pointed out that Mercury in Cancer is talking about issues with home, but this specific transit, what we're looking at here, relates, it's these two together, Mercury and Mars, we could be dealing with some sibling rivalry. There could be some things coming out, not just with sibling rivalry, but rivalry right now. Sorry, I have too many thoughts coming out. But also in the home situation, there might be secrets and lies being exposed within someone's home, our own homes and family and everything. This is hitting us close to home. It's literally there. So you might also find yourself in a home and a family situation where you're really fault finding others a lot. Because Mercury, this is very, it gives us this urge to call people out, okay? And that doesn't mean you're not correct in how you want to call them out. But maybe they don't need that reminder. Maybe we need to be more gentle in our communication and go with the whole theme of this retrograde cycle that we're in throughout the month of June and July, and clean up our own messes instead of worrying about other people's. So in the family situation, in your communications, watch it. There's going to be situations where, again, you could use this positively. And this Mercury and Mars square together, what this is doing is it's giving you, like, you're going to call a brick, as they say, you're going to call a spade. You're just going to call it like you see it. And that could be good. But it could also backfire on you, too. So you're going to be quick thinking, competitive thinking, assertive communication. It's going to be more aggressive communication just because of this Mars and Aries energy that we're all dealing with right now. This can also bring out tricks, thefts, petty thefts. We have to watch it with Mercury here because that could also be some things in the cyber world, cyber theft, identity theft. It's a good time to be careful and watch all of your electronic communications and security. And know that if you are having a hard time with your mental health and your anxiety is going up and you just feel so nervous, or you're really scattered and it's a difficult time for you, or your thoughts are going too much. The other thing is, when you have your thoughts and your actions, you can put thought to action, but depending on where you are and like what situation you're dealing with, there's tension between your thought and your actions. That can happen. It could translate. You could think, I'm going to do this, but then your actions are saying otherwise. And why is that? I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. It's okay. It's a transit. We're going through it, and this energy will lessen up. So it could feel so big to you in this moment. If you're dealing with mental health stuff, it can feel so huge, and you could be frustrated with yourself. But know that this too shall pass, and this tension will lessen up, okay? It's really important to understand, especially with a lot of we're still under all of this like full moon lunar eclipse energy. It is still with us. And what is a lunar event besides lunacy, right? Lunacy. So you're not crazy. The moon is crazy. There's a lot of things going on right now. If you're struggling with your mental health, please know that this too shall pass, and it will lessen up. It will lessen up as we end this week out, okay? It's a really difficult time, but hang in there. In everyone's lives, it's very important at this time to watch your ego, to watch your impatience, to watch your fault finding, because our mind's moving sharp, even though it's kind of going backwards, right? It's just give yourselves a minute. Don't jump to conclusions right now. And also know that the big influence of this time is the Saturn and Pluto conjunction. I've been following this closely. I am not happy to report or pleased to report because it's not the best, but things rolled out pretty much as predicted, as shown in the astrological story of 2020. I could go into this more later at some other time, but I want to go into what you're dealing with right now this week, okay? And I want you to know that with this Saturn-Pluto conjunction, this story, this astrological story of 2020 that we're all living, that we're all experiencing, even though it feels cruel at times, the goal of this, a part of this, is about you revealing your true talents, you revealing your path and getting realigned with your path if you've gotten off of it, and you reevaluating your relationships, your associations, your vocation, and how you present yourself to the world. Pluto is forcing us to examine transformation, the transformation possible within all of us, and the transformation we can make within our society. This all has to do with a lot of personal karma and personal stories playing out. So know that if you're being mean, okay, and you're evading, if you're not cleaning up the messes in your own house, if you're very busy with the witch hunt, the cancel culture, the calling everybody out, and you're not taking care of your own mess, or if you actually are a person who is engaging in dark acts or dark energy and just being a mean person and evading your own, responsibility and the contribution you can make to the collective by being a compassionate member of society, good luck, because you're going to get it handed to you. If you're nice and if you're trying, to make a world and more compassion and everything like that, you've already got some good luck going your way. And even though it's so hard right now, there's so many ways where so many of us are being cushioned from the hardest blow. So take time every day to give gratitude for what you do have, and know that it is a very wise and radical act to be kind during a time that feels so unkind. It does make a difference, okay? It really does make a difference. There is a lot of karma at play right now. So everything you put out, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So make sure you're putting out the good stuff. Make sure you're putting out what you want to attract. Make sure you're putting out the kind of energy that you want in your home, in your professional relationships, in your community. It's very important at this time. We are being forced to really examine some dark wounds, and it's so important to go back to that originality. I use that visual of that ring of fire eclipse that we went through. You have to go through the darkness to come out to the light. So know that even in the darkest of times, it's right before dawn. It's dawn. Hang in there, especially when you have a transit like this really permeating throughout the week. There's a lot of other things that's going on throughout this week, and there's some more going on with Chiron, which is about us really healing this wound, and that will be the next adventure and lesson that we'll go through. But I wanted to really focus on this to give you a lesson in the breakdown of it. So in astrology, the language of the universe is symbolism. This is our Mercury symbol. This is Cancer, where it's at. This is our square, which is our aspect, which lets us know how these two are interacting with each other. And this is what we have. We have Mercury squaring off against Mars, which is over in the Aries constellation. It's very important to know not just the celestial being, but the house that it resides in. Just like it is in your own personal chart, when we look at the collective energy and the mundane astrology of it all, we have to examine that. So the square is like a tension. It's a tension. It's a force. The other thing you have to remember here too is a lot of times with squares, it's like we're trying to make it a rectangle, and it's not. It's tense, and it's refusing to be something that it's not. So that's an important part to remember. So thought to action, but this can play out in a couple different ways. So when I have all these different things here in all these different ways, that's because it's not just one. It's not just one. I can't say one. I'm trying to do thought for Mercury and action for Mars, and that's as simplistic as I can get. But then after we do that, we have to look at that square, and then we have to say, well, where's Mercury at? What's Mercury focused on in that Cancer constellation now? What's the representation and mythology of that? And what's Aries? And that's really what I see here with the Cancer part. It's about that root issue, all those root issues that we're dealing with, both collectively and within our private homes. It's going back to issues of how we have been nurtured, how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture others. That's what's happening in Cancer. And it's about self-love, which is such a big theme this year. It's so important that we, in this retrograde cycle, that we really examine how we love and care for ourselves. We have to put our oxygen mask on first before we can help others. And it's really important at this time. and to not feel selfish about it, to know that that is something that you are doing for everyone, not just yourself. So Mercury is all the thought. Mars and Aries, this is at home, and this could be horrible. This could be war energy. This could be explosive and nuclear energy, right? But as I was saying, it can also be bravery. It can be that person that's not afraid just to charge in. And when you have Pluto asking you to look at your own transformation, you know, how you can transform yourself, and Jupiter saying align on the right path, you know, explore higher thinking and go there, you know, you need to be that brave baby and to have that pioneer spirit. Mars will be in Aries for a long time. This is an energy we're going to be dealing with throughout the year. We just have to watch our initial gut reaction. You know, it's one of those things where you have to respond, not react when you have Mars and Aries, okay? You have to think things through, because with that, there's an impulsiveness. There's this like primal, you know, defense of things that you really have to watch out. It's very strong masculine energy. So we have strong masculine energy bouncing off of our thought part. So our action's strong, militant action. We're going to call it out. It's cut and dry. Everything's real simple. I can see it clear. But then our actual thoughts are in the Cancer constellation, which is this feminine, nurturing, creative energy. It's about what lies below the water. It's very calm and peaceful on top. So these two are squaring off. This is the theme of this week. If you're feeling all this tension, if you feel this weird part or this struggle between, you know, your commitments to your home and the world, you just wanting to go out in the world and do this, or like, I know what I want to do now. I want to do it right this second. Tension, tension, tension. A lot of nervous tension. So be careful with that. Watch your own personal privacy a little bit, because Mercury is a trickster. So tricky actions, okay? See how it's all playing? There's layers. There's many ways the story can play out. And all of this is bouncing off your personal natal chart, your personal birth. It's like two wheels spinning against each other. So how this plays out for you depends on your own personal, your very personal astrological story at this time. But these give you some ideas of some themes and some different things that could be coming your way or really in your mind or just playing out to you right now. We have to watch the aggressive war energy, but we have to embrace the brave baby as we're being asked to look at our wounds, our root wounds and things related to the mother and the nurturing and so forth. And we have to watch our competitive thinking. Just be very conscious of the words as they come out. Don't worry about sounding smart and being the know-it-all or being more woke than the next person. Worry about compassionate communication at this time. And keep this with you for quite a while as we go into this Mars energy. I mean, it's here. You can like feel it. You could feel it before it even officially entered in. When it was at the end of Pisces, it was like raring up. We were all raring up. So watch that. Because this is Mercury and it rules transportation, be a defensive driver. This energy is already with us throughout this Mercury retrograde cycle. Drive as if everyone is an absolute idiot and about to do the craziest thing on the road. Drive so defensively. Just assume that they're all going to go crazy and you're ready for it. You're ready for it, okay? There's going to be people that, like, this is just like road rage, aggression kind of energy waiting to happen. What I noticed is that it seems like people are in a great big hurry, yet they don't even know where they're going to go. Oh, I've got to get in. Wait, which way was I going again? It's that kind of energy, so be mindful of that and be a very much a defensive driver at this time. And again, if you are going through things with mental discomfort at this time, I just really want to say that it's important just sorry, we are really all struggling with it at this time, whether we admit it or not, whether we're conscious of it or not. It's so hard to say, like, there's not a one thing fixes all, okay? What I want to say is just, if I could speak from personal experience, that getting away from electronics, getting out in nature, being able to hear myself think, and remind myself I'm safe, I'm okay, it's here, you know, the birds are chirping, things are happening. It's very helpful, but also to just really look at the positive. Just to count off all the things that you're grateful for. Count off all the things that are happening at this time, that are positive, forward motions that we're making, because it's very easy to get caught up in the fear and the chaos and the hot mess of it all. I mean, it's really, and other people's hot mess, because everyone's struggling and there's a lot of projecting going on. And if you are more sensitive, you're definitely picking up on that a lot more. You're taking that energy in, whether you realize it or not. So even though it feels like there's a lot of alone time, sometimes we really truly need time alone without electronics or people around, just to center ourselves. And this, even just 5 minutes of this, can really make a difference. To just take a break from it all and regroup. And then when you have a bad day, the lesson we're getting here with Mercury and Cancer is to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how's anyone else going to love you? Love yourself. Really take that time to pamper yourself. You're having a hard day, you can't get your thoughts together, everything's a mess. It's like, treat yourself. Do something for you that makes you feel better. Take the thought to action and do the things and act on the things that will make you feel better, that are safe, that are okay, that are pleasant to experience, and incorporate that. And know if you've had a bad day, you had a bad day. Tomorrow will be different. You can bounce back. You don't have to be stuck in that moment. Step outside of that moment as best as you can, and just to nurture yourself. That's the only advice that I can share from personal experience. But I hopefully that helps somebody. But I know it's not one thing fixes all. So as we go in and we end out this retrograde cycle through July 26th, know that some mental instability and some nervous tension and heightened anxiety is likely to stay with you. Okay, it's likely to stay with you at this time, and you're gonna have to navigate through that. But know that it will lessen out. And this will only last, by the end of the week. This feeling, this too shall pass as well, okay? And that full moon energy that we're at, that will like dissipate a little, it'll chill out. So there's things that have built up to such a tense point, and here we go, and we have this tension between thought and action at this time. It's an important challenge that we're all facing in this retrograde cycle, because so many of us are starting to see that new path, and we just want to rush towards it. But forward motion isn't possible when you have 6 planets in retrograde at one time. You know what I mean? We're ending these cycles now. This is changing a lot. So much of the astrology of July is a continuation of what we've already been experiencing. It's this retrograde story playing out from June through July. There's a few things happening, but as of this week, I saw this is the most important teachable moment and influence that you're going to experience that you might struggle with. So I wanted to just share this part, and hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about how the symbolic language of it all breaks down, and you just have to go with the different things of each and what happens with each. And at times it's like, oh, this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen. But that's why there's so many variables, and each of these, and this is such a general reading. So any video you see with astrology and they're doing a general reading, it's so hard to, it's going to resonate with everybody, but it's so hard to pinpoint, because your own story, your own astrological chart is playing off of it all at the same time. But collectively, this is a transit we're all going through. So this is step 1. And then it goes deeper in the personalization, and how this step is counteracting against your own Mercury, your own Mars, and the rest of your chart and your astrological blueprint, so to speak. So that's what's happening at this time. The advice about the road, the impatience and the road energy, I'm just going to keep that through the rest of 2020, because we have Mars and Aries. The idea of war is so much on the surface that if you want peace, live in peace, think peace, pray for peace. Okay? This is an energy we're going to at a very volatile time in our geopolitical climate, and it's enough to worry. It's enough that we have to, counteract that and and use this energy to be brave babies, you know, and to create the best that we can at this time and to align with our new path. So I think it's challenging energy we have, and I hope that everything shared, you know, by what the stars say helps you better navigate that, because you can be a co-creator, and even though it's a challenging year, it's a year that is ripe with opportunity for you to transform your life and to become better equipped to handle the cosmic waves we're all influenced by, just like the oceans and nature and the crops are influenced by the moon. We are under that same influence, we're under that same sky, and just knowing how it plays out, it helps us detach in a way that doesn't make us care less. Maybe it makes us care more, but it helps us detach enough from our emotions that we don't play into it, that we don't play victim to getting caught up in the energies at large and around us. We're like, oh, that's what that is. So maybe when you go out and you see somebody cut you off, instead of getting all mad and letting it affect your whole day, you'll just go, oh, Mars and Aries, I guess it's been challenging for you. You know, and you can let it shake it off a little bit, because that doesn't have to change your whole day. You know, it doesn't, somebody cut in front of you, everybody's okay. It doesn't have to change the whole day. And you can detach a bit because you go, okay, that's where that's coming from. It gotcha, you know, but I'm going to be smarter than that. So hopefully that's how it plays out, and that's a good tiny lesson in co-creating with astrology a little bit. I wish you all a wonderful week, and be kind to each other.